Okay. Oh my goodness. Let's do this today. Hello, my friends. Hello, hello, hello. It's so good to see so many of you returning today. So we tried to do this stream on Wednesday, and holy cow, was it a nightmare, right? It was an absolute nightmare because something was going on with my audio. In fact, hold on. One of the issues was that, or not my audio, it was my audio, my video, everything was going crazy. I don't know what happened, but there was an internet outage in my area. In fact, it was most of the day. In fact, I did a speed test after we had this problem, and it was something with, I don't know, like I'm in Indiana, I'm in the United States, so I love seeing where all y'all are watching from. And it was crazy because literally I was like, did a speed test and it was like pinging a Chicago server. And Chicago is like a 4-hour drive from where I live right now. So I will say that that was not fun. And then later in the day, I reset the router, I did everything. Then I did a speed test again later and it was pinging a more local server. So I don't know if one of our local internet servers went down. I don't know what happened, but all I got to say is thank y'all for hanging out with me and thank you for being patient. I certainly appreciate that y'all understood that sometimes things just happen. We tried everything, right? We tried everything, but it just wasn't going to work. So today is an encore performance. We are going to actually give this episode a try. Let me know how everything is going today. I have been making some changes to my setup. And so I'm actually, I'll show you. So I've got a vertical tower today. So this is my setup from yesterday. So yesterday was the Streamyard Summit. And so I actually tried doing something different because I don't use a teleprompter. As you can see, I've got two main cameras. This is my little behind the scenes camera. It's just it's just a Logitech Brio. And I tried doing something I've never done before. I went ahead and I turned my monitor to the side so that I could have our Google Doc, which is like our run of show and our scripts and everything over here next to me. And then it just was kind of a weird setup. So I wanted to make sure I could try something different. So I haven't changed it, but at the same time, I haven't actually, I've been tinkering. And so hopefully my audio and everything sounds okay. Definitely let me know that we're doing okay over here. So I'm going to get us back over to the main camera shot. Video and audio is good. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for letting me know, because honestly, one of the things that's interesting is that you can test and check, but to check it live, you almost have to be like on a phone and making sure everything sounds okay. So anyways, I don't know. I'm refreshing some tech, and whenever you're refreshing and touching things can get wonky. Wonky is the word I like to use when things get a little awry. So we are going to be talking about practicing your live streams, which is actually one of the things that you can do to make sure that everything is working the way that you want it to. And so, but I don't know. I kind of wanted to know if y'all were there yesterday at the summit. What an amazing summit we had yesterday. It was absolutely incredible. I was super honored to host again with Dana Bentz. We're kind of like, we're having a lot of fun with it. She said we should call ourselves Dell, Dana and Mel. And so we've actually been having a lot of fun doing these events together. So it was an awesome one yesterday. And I will say that one of the new announcements that came out, and I want to make sure everybody knows, it's in your account right now. So if you are a Streamyard user, when you go live, if you go into your brand, you can scroll down, and all the way at the bottom, you have music. And so I don't know if you guys noticed that, but when I started today's stream and I had the overlay up, I was playing music. So if you were listening, you heard some music that was coming right from inside the Streamyard studio, and you all have that music in there now. So I don't know if any of you have checked that out or if any of you have noticed that, but that was one of the big feature announcements that came out yesterday, and it was fantastic. I mean, I'm super excited about it. And so it's going to be fun. I want you all to be checking that out, try it out. You definitely need to tinker around with it. This is something that I think the timing is good, because I personally think that if you're going to use music in your streams, it is something you should test and something you should practice. And so today we are going to be talking about practicing your live streams and ways that you can actually do that, because we got an amazing question from Cliff Moores, who wanted to know what are some ways that he can set up ways that he can practice. One of the reasons why you should be practicing your live streams is not only to test features and to get acclimated with features, but also to test your audio, to test your video. And we're going to go through some of those ways that you can do that today. So if you guys are excited and ready for it, we're definitely going to jive. We're going to jive and dive in. Somebody asked about my lights that are going on right here. Hold on. I got to pull the comment up. I saw it. Where'd it go? There it is. So Lisa Carter wants to know, what are those light streaks? Are they supposed to be there? They are definitely there. They are coming. That is natural light actually coming from my there's a little stairwell. You can see the little stairwell right there. That is a halfway stairwell that goes up to my front door. And there's a window above my front door. And that sometimes when the sun shines, a particular day, the light definitely comes down. So I could definitely change my camera angle if I wanted to. Maybe I will, don't know. But one time somebody thought that was like an actual light. But no, that's just natural light coming in. Definitely one of the things. So it looks like you guys are definitely excited about this topic. I test nothing when live. Members tell me. Yeah, members just tell you what's going on, right? And which is what happened the other day, is you guys were like, something's going crazy, Mel. It's choppy, it's freezing. And I was like, oh no. And so it is nice to always have that. But again, there are ways that you can practice. So Susan, of course, says, I always test and practice unlisted or private on my YouTube channel, or I just record inside StreamYard. Yes, we're going to talk about some of those. Those are some of the ways that you can definitely practice. So let's definitely, yes, this is Cazadores says, thank you for the music. Yeah, so the music is definitely one of the new things. Definitely go test this, try it out. And we're going to use that example today, because this is a new feature that just came out. Let's play a little bit for you all, so that you can get into it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, I think there's eight different songs and tracks that you guys can pick from. And we'll probably be doing a deep dive on these next week. In next week's show, I'm going to do a live Q&A. So our Ask Streamyard on next Wednesday will just be general Q&A. We will definitely talk about these new features that came out. But let's just go ahead and give you guys a quick sample of our music. There we go. So I just faded it up. So this is the dance pop song. If you all can hear it. Now it's louder. So one of the reasons why I definitely think that you should practice with this feature and literally practice, don't just go live with it, is because you're not really 100% sure how that music is going to sound in comparison to your voice. And what you don't want to do when you're streaming, if you want to have background music, is like go live and use it and not know if your audience can hear it or they can hear you okay. So it's actually a really good idea for you to decide what are the right audio levels, because in that background music, you can set how loud it is, right? And you can change the songs and all that. So get acclimated with it, because it's one of those things that you're going to want to test. And so it's a perfect example of why you would want to practice a live stream like we're talking about today in today's topic. So you definitely want to make sure that let's just think about that. Is it copyright free? It is. So Dan and Gage this has been a requested feature for a really long time, and they've been very careful about doing it because they wanted to make sure, one, that they have the right kind of music and the music that can be copyright free. That's a huge, huge piece. Now, somebody's asking already, and I knew this was coming, is everybody wants to know, can we upload our own music? That is in the product roadmap, but it's not there now. And one of the reasons is because they want everybody to get used to this concept. And the other reason is that no matter how many times we tell everyone, you have to make sure if you're going to play music in your streams, you have to have the rights and the right licenses to play that music in your streams. And no matter how many times we say it over and over and over again, there will be people that will upload music that they're not allowed to play. And then all of a sudden they'll have issues, and then they'll be like, Streamyard, what's going on? I played music. So there's definitely a lot of things they're just trying to make sure they approach it correctly. But I do know that it is in their product roadmap, and they certainly want to make sure they're careful with it. So what I love about Dan especially, is very passionate about not overcomplicating and not having too many settings and options inside StreamYard, because he wants to make sure it's very, very doable and very usable. So, I'm going to, if you guys have questions about practicing your live streams, right? Definitely post those with a Q in front for me. I will be taking those questions. The background music, all that music stuff, come in, join us next Wednesday. Join Christian Karasevich next Wednesday. Well, we will be talking about all that stuff. You notice I have my headphones in, and that main reason I have my headphones in today is because of the music that I was playing. That's definitely a key piece of that. So, okay. Town Talk Podcast says, the summit was amazing. Made great connections in the connect room after the speakers finished. I'm so glad you did that. I'm really, really, really glad that you actually went and took advantage of the networking, for sure. So Anthony wants to know, is a replay feature in the product roadmap? I don't know about that. Replay, I don't know why we would need replay, because when you go live, the replay is always available on all of your social media channels. And if you want to stream a pre-recorded live stream, you can just use the pre-recorded feature. So if that's what you're asking, that's already there for sure. So okay, again, we're going to be talking about practicing live streams. So if you have a comment about practicing live streams or a question, post it here, okay? If you have other questions unrelated to today's topic, save it for next Wednesday and come join us next Wednesday. We'll be live at 11 a.m. for the Ask Streamyard show, and we're doing just an open live Q&A. We'll probably be live for 2 or 3 hours like we were last time. So it'll be a lot of fun. Okay. What's up, SmackDown Outdoors? Hey. Definitely good to see you for sure here as well. Okay. Let's see here. So if you have feature requests, which I see a lot of those in the comments that I'm not going to entertain because we got to get to today's topic. If you have a feature request, go to streamyard.com/contact. You can provide all your feedback there, and you can provide your feature requests over there for sure. So definitely make sure that if you have something that you want to suggest, that is the best place where our engineers and developers will see and hear what you're saying. If you put it in the comments here, it's probably not going to go anywhere except up in the flow of the queue. So with that being said, let's get to today's topic. We are going to be talking about how to practice your live streams, how to set up a practice live stream, but also we're going to be talking about, in general, practicing those live streams and why you would want to do that. So definitely, if you have a question, put a Q in front of it for me. That will help me grab it and put it in the starred comments so I can answer your question. So as I mentioned earlier, why would you want to practice? So let's first start there. Why would you actually want or need to practice live streams? Well, one, I mentioned earlier that one of the examples of why you would want to is actually to test a new feature. So the music feature that just got released, that just came out, is a perfect example. But there are other features, of course, in our studio, like displaying overlays, using videos inside of your streams. So if you've been a fan of the Ask Streamyard show and you've been tuning in, then you know that a while back I've done a few shows that actually were about using some features in some ways that maybe you aren't thinking about. These are also great examples of why you would want to practice. So one was using videos as transitions in your live stream. So actually creating little transitional style videos and playing them in between little segments of your stream. So for example, one of those would be, this particular one here for today's topic. This is actually a little animated video that we had. You saw the question mark fly in. That is actually going to go away automatically because it's a video. And so these little things, that was one example. Another example would be using overlays, in unique ways. So, and displaying images, right? We talked about, there was a stream I did about all the different ways you can display images in your stream. So these methods that I taught you in the Ask Streamyard show, and if you missed those shows, definitely go check those out. You can go over to the YouTube channel and there is a playlist for all the Ask Streamyard shows. Just find that playlist and you'll find those old episodes in there. Some really great ways for you to level up your live videos. And I know a lot of you are there, and those are some really popular shows that we did because I think that there are a lot of innovative ways that you can use these different features inside StreamYard that maybe aren't as obvious to you. So that's one of my favorite things to do, is to kind of show you a little feature and then show you how to really maximize that feature in some different ways. But that's also an example of why you want to practice, because you don't want to just put a bunch of images or decide I'm going to share my screen or I'm going to share this PowerPoint and then you go live and it's the first time you've done it. That's really not what I would recommend, because even though it's easy and even though these features are very easy to use, you want to practice how it works. You want to get acclimated with the StreamYard Studio. You want to get acclimated with clicking the buttons, being able to navigate around the StreamYard Studio. For example, I'm looking at comments right now, and then another area where I need to be able to click quickly and easily is over in the brand tab so that I can pull up overlays like this when I want to be able to pull that up. And so that takes a little bit of practice. So again, if you're new to StreamYard, that would be one reason why you want to practice. But another reason, as I said, is to play around with the features. So there's a million other reasons why you would want to practice. Honestly, tech checks. That's another thing. So I saw that Jennifer posted in here. She says, doing a practice run, especially a tech check, is key to things going smoothly at the actual show. This is very, very, very much suggested and very, very critical if you're going to have guests in your show. So that's also another reason why you might need to actually do a practice stream or do some things inside of a practice area. So let's talk about how you can set that up. So the first way that is really easy to practice or to play around with the features is, quite frankly, just go inside the StreamYard studio. So I don't think a lot of people really think about this, especially as they're new to StreamYard. So when you are brand new, you don't even have to go live to tinker with the features. So let me show you really quickly. I'm going to actually pull up my account, and I'm going to just kind of show you what I mean by this. So when you log into StreamYard, what I always recommend everyone does is I always recommend, if you want to, let me share my screen. Actually, I'm going to share my window because my monitor is really weird today because it's vertical. So, okay, so let me share this. All right, so as you can see here, this is StreamYard, right? So we're in StreamYard, so go into your StreamYard account. Actually, I'm gonna go into my account, and then my team. And then as you can see, I have a live stream scheduled for next week, which is my normal live stream that I do. But if you wanna play around, I could go into that studio and actually go into that scheduled broadcast. But actually, I don't recommend you do that because the last thing I want you to do is to accidentally click go live, which has happened to me before. So what I recommend is you create a safe environment. And all you have to do is just create a broadcast and go right here to new broadcast. Now you can pick any destination that you already have connected if you're on a free plan, for example. If you are on a paid plan, you have the record only feature. You could totally do a record only if you wanted to. That's completely fine. So in fact, I also think that this is a great way for you to, if you just want to record yourself to do a tech check and then go back and replay it and watch it, you can totally do that as well. So if we just click record only, and I'm just going to call this test. Make it easy, right? So it's going to create a broadcast and it's just going to be a test. And then of course it's going to ask me to add my camera, which I'm shocked that's going to let me add the same camera. So we'll just go ahead and go with this. And I'm going to enter the studio. And as you can see from here, you literally have the entire studio at your fingertips. Now, one of the differences is that you do have it. So everything's here. So if you want to, you can actually do this as well if you wanted to go in and set up a stream beforehand. So for example, I always, for the Ask Streamyard show every week, I use banners and I have some overlays. I set those up beforehand. So I set the stream up, but I can go into my demo if I want to, and I can pick whatever brand I have set for that, and I can just go ahead and set that up. So if I were to go in here to my weekly show, you'll notice here, all my assets are already uploaded in there for my weekly show. So if I just wanted to start blank, blank is easy too. By the way, there's your music all the way at the bottom down at background music underneath your background. So now you know where it is. But you go in here to a record only. And as you'll notice, you can play around with all of the stuff. You don't even have to be live. You don't even have to hit record. And so this is actually a great place for you to, get a brand set up if you wanted to ahead of time. I'm going to go in here and I'll just do in my weekly show brand here. So I can go in here and I can say, okay, I'm going to try some new things. I'm going to try this little countdown timer and see how it looks. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, cool. I'm going to watch that. Okay, now I'm going to play around with some overlays, right? And then I'm going to see if how some of these things look. Okay, cool. Here are the videos I've got in here. Let's see how that looks. You probably heard the song. No, you probably didn't hear any music there because I don't have that routed through. But you can play around with the features and play around with, as I mentioned, using screen share and things like that. So I can share let's see how this is going to look. Add. And there's the actual StreamYard stream that we're doing right now. So you can see, oh, that looks weird. Or, oh, the overlay is kind of covering up part of me. I don't want it to, so I need to change that overlay. This is a great way for you to test your overlays, test your designs, make sure it's all going to work okay. So again, I'm in a studio. I'm in here. I can set up my banners. I can do whatever I want. I can change the colors. I can set up a new brand. I can change my settings in here. I can change the layout because maybe I don't want that crop layout. And now I'm full screen again. Let me take that overlay off up there. And this is just, and look, now I can see what my timer's going to do. I can test that, make sure it's going to do what I want. Okay, cool. Now I can go up here and turn that off. So again, this is a great place for you to just get acclimated, play around with all the different features. As I mentioned earlier, maybe the music feature you want to play around with. So you want to say, how's that going to sound? Can I fade it in? Can I fade it out? What do each of these songs sound like? So you can play each one, test them out, try them. So again, different ways that you would want to practice. So I personally almost always have a demo stream in my account. And actually, if I go back and share my screen again, what you're going to notice is when I go back to my studio, look, it's still there. So I almost always have a demo stream or a test stream like this set up. And I just go in and you can literally go in here and you can set up your stream. You can get your assets organized, create your banners, do all those things. Or you can use it to play around with the features. So that is actually the easiest way. Now you can also just set up a stream. So you can just set up a broadcast, which is actually going to take me to my next tip. So you can just set up maybe a Facebook group and just call it test, and you can say test, whatever. And then you can just say create broadcast, and it's actually going to create an actual broadcast, where you will see up in the right-hand corner, that magical button go live, which we didn't want to accidentally click before. So that's actually another way. I almost always have one of these set up in my studio at all times. So definitely, you guys are definitely have great things in the comments here. I want to check in on you guys really quick. Create record only sessions. So looks like a lot of you are doing that for sure. Andrew says, I do that, just practice without going live. Yolanda says, I do a practice a few hours before the real show for sure. Yeah, a lot of people do that. I will be honest with you. I don't practice before every live show I do. I don't. Now, if I make any changes to a setup, if I'm having any issues, if I've made any software changes, anything like that to my system, then I will do a quick tech test or a test run to make sure everything's looking okay. You guys better believe that I 100% tested today to make sure my internet was going to be okay and everything else, right? So it's one of those things for sure. So, let's see. Okay, I'm just checking on you guys in the comments, making sure that everybody's got some good stuff here. So, okay, so we're talking about practicing your live streams for sure. So let me check this out. I'm pinning some questions here. So Michael says, how do you fade it on and out? That's the music question. We are definitely going to be talking about this next Wednesday, but there is a fader slider as you saw in the studio. I'll show it to you really quick, and then we'll keep moving on with practices. So right here, this is the volume. That's your fader for fading your music in and out. So that's how you can adjust the volume for the music that's going to be playing in the background. So there you have it. Okay, so let's keep moving, and I want to look at my questions. And you only need to post your question once. I see those questions. If I do ask for a refresh of questions, I will. Sometimes I'll say, hey, if I didn't answer your question, post it again right now. Sometimes I do that when all the comments get a little crazy. But with the starred comments feature, I'm able to keep track of these much better. So, but again, no need to post those twice. So let's see. Susan wants to know, is it possible to pause the stream and restart the same stream? That is not possible, Susan. Now, if you noticed Wednesday, what I did, there were a couple things I did. So Streamyard will not end the broadcast unless you literally click the button end broadcast, which is a red button up in the upper right-hand corner that where it says go live. When you go live, that button will change to end broadcast because you are live. If you just close the browser, it does not end the broadcast. And so if you guys were here Wednesday, some of you were paying attention and you were noticing that, I didn't just close out and say, okay, we're done. I guess it's not going to work. I actually recommend that if you do need to stop a stream or take a break or step away from the stream, you can't pause a stream. That's actually not possible. The platforms don't allow you to pause a stream, but you can leave a stream, meaning you take a break. And I recommend you use an overlay. So this was the overlay I pulled up the other day, and you can hear me now because I'm still here. But what I did was I knew I was going to close my browser. And if I just close my browser, then what's going to happen is the screen's going to go blank, meaning I'll go away and all you all would see is the background. And it would just be like no audio, no Mel. It'd be the background only. And so what I like to do as a courtesy is to pull the overlay up before I close the browser. So why would you need to do this? Maybe you're having issues. You need to try to re-enter. Sometimes I'll have a camera issue where my camera won't work because I've got to open in something else and I'm like, oh no, and I get it, it messes up, and all I have to do is literally refresh my Streamyard browser. What I do is I would click be right back, refresh the browser, and then I would be back and I'd be able to fix it. Now, literally on Wednesday, I actually also rebooted my computer. So refreshing Streamyard didn't work. So I decided, okay, let's try restarting the computer. So I actually went to the be right back screen and I rebooted my entire system and I came back. But that's because if somebody enters the stream, then they know, oh, well, she's going to be right back. Also, everyone that's here watching, it kind of helps you know I'm not ditching you. I'm going to come right back. So no, you can't pause the stream, but you can certainly use these tactics to, take a break. Or I actually use this sometimes when I need to blow my nose or I need to sneeze or cough or do something crazy. Sometimes I'll say, hold on, and I'll pull that up and then I take it down when I'm done. So certainly an option for you to use. I would definitely recommend that instead. So let me see. So Damn Short Film Festival says, can you practice test your host and guest audio also? Yes. In fact, I love that because that is definitely one of the other things that I think everyone should be thinking about. So we talked about just using the studio. So just going into your studio, you can create a broadcast and just play around in there. We did talk about using the record only feature. Now, again, if you're on a paid plan, you have that. If you don't, all you need to do is go set up a broadcast and just make sure you don't click go live, right? So it's the exact same thing. You're going to have all the same stuff accessible to you. Just make sure you don't go live, which I showed you a second ago. Now, if you want to, this is what I recommend you do. I recommend everyone do this. So everybody pay attention, because this is absolutely, in my opinion, it's something every streamer should do no matter what. You should set up a practice Facebook group. So Facebook will allow you to create a Facebook group with just you in it. It used to be that in order to create a group, you literally had to invite someone to the group or it wouldn't even let you create it. That is no longer the case. You can actually have a Facebook group where it is literally just you inside of that group. So why is this a good idea? Well, as I mentioned, what I don't want you to do is go create a broadcast and accidentally go live, right? You don't want to do that. I mean, you could. It's not a big deal. It's not going to be into the world, but you could certainly do that. But I want you to create a practice group, because if you create a practice group, it's going to allow you to do two things. Well, it's going to allow you to do a few things, and a few things that are actually pretty great. So literally, you can actually go live in a practice Facebook group, and then you can monitor that live at the same time. So I actually love using this when I am testing audio, trying new things, and I don't want to go live and then go back and watch it and then be like, oh man, I wish I would have adjusted the volume, or oh, go live, oh, I wish I would have moved the camera angle. You can literally, this is a great way for you to just try new setups for yourself while you're live. You can see and hear how everything sounds. You can test a microphone that maybe you just purchased. This is actually one of the best ways to do it. So the other option that you have is to create an unlisted YouTube video. Now, it is absolutely possible. So let me just show you briefly. Here's the thing though. I don't love this option. It's not as easy and it's not as convenient. So let me show you how you do this. So the unlisted YouTube video. So we're going back to Streamyard, and I'm going to create a broadcast, new broadcast. I'm going to go to my YouTube channel, and I'm going to say test, right? And right here where it says privacy, you have to make sure you select unlisted. And then you can create that broadcast. I'm actually not going to do it because it's a pain in the butt. It actually will create a broadcast on your YouTube channel. Now it's unlisted, meaning only you see it, but it is in the back end of your studio. You have to eventually go delete that thing. It's really just kind of annoying. Also, you have to click all these things and you have to make sure that it's set up as unlisted. And then the only way you can get to it conveniently and easily is to get the link. You have to go get the link first or go into your studio. I just personally think that there are more steps involved in this process, but some people literally I absolutely have zero Facebook. I don't have a Facebook account. I don't have any Facebook. If you're one of those people, then this is what you'll want to do instead. Okay. So let's just go back and say, we all understand that Mel now recommends 100% the Facebook group instead. So if you're in Facebook, you can create a Facebook group. It's very easy to do. Just make a Facebook group, make it private. That's what I would recommend, is make it private. Do not make it public. And if it's private, no one can actually be in there unless you add them. Okay. So I actually have one. I call it my Facebook Live Sandbox, my Facebook Live Sandbox. And it's just where I go and try new things. So I literally, the reason why I like doing this is because when I open up Facebook, I can quickly go to the group. I can easily find the stream. Many times when I literally go live in that practice group and I pull it up, I pull up Facebook on my phone, it'll be like right there. It'll be right there, right in my newsfeed. And all I got to do is click it, and then I can monitor what's going on. And so if I were to, let me pull this up. I'm going to pull up my actual group for you. So the other thing too that you might consider is you might consider adding people to your sandbox. James Hicks, I see you. So I actually like to have a few people in my sandbox because sometimes they'll be in there. Sometimes I can literally say, hey, I'm about to go live. Will you be in there so I can test this, so you can do some things. You don't have to have anyone in there, but if you have a couple people like accountability buddies or anything like that, create a little sandbox so that you can use it as both of you can use it as your trial ground. So my sandbox has oops, I forgot I'm not sharing my screen. So this is let me see if I can, there we go. So this was literally earlier, me testing not only the music, but also me making sure my setup was okay. As you can see, I literally did that an hour ago. So this was the test that I did before, so I could check everything here. Here's another one I'm doing, checking some things. This was me demoing a giveaway, as you can see. And here's another one. It looks like I make the same face every time I start my test lives. Here's me trying again. I can literally scroll so far back. Here's me in the car. Here's me again, trying to use my phone. Oh, this was me probably going live doing a demo while I was live. So as you can see, I have been using this for a really long time to try things. So I highly recommend that you do this, because here's another thing you can do. Look, audio check. I also recommend that when you do these and you create these practice streams, that you go ahead and just title it what you're testing, or just, whatever. You don't have to, but sometimes I kind of like, there was me testing previously recorded. So again, this is a great way for you to test features, new camera angles. Let's go way back. You guys are going to see some funny stuff. Let's go way back. Come on, load it. There's me testing a guest. This was me doing a tech check with a guest. And I just was doing it in the group to make it easy. So I make lots of funny faces, and yes, I do talk on it. I talk to myself, which makes it fun. There's that face again. So you can see I've been doing this for a long time. And so that's kind of what's kind of fun, is you can actually go back and see some of the things you were testing before. And there is sometimes value to that. So I certainly want to recommend that you set up a Facebook group for that reason. The other reason is, again, you can add other people to it if you want to do some tests together. Now, what's beautiful about Streamyard is you do not have to actually go live to do any testing, as I said. If you want to monitor something, how it actually ended up on the broadcast, maybe the resolution, maybe if you're testing your internet to make sure that you're going to get a good quality signal output. You can't test that in the studio when you're not live. So there are certainly values to actually going live and testing things and practicing things so that you can go actually monitor the actual output, right? And then, as I said, if you want to do some live monitoring of audio, or if you want to see how something looks right in the moment so you can make adjustments, then you're going to want to actually go live to a Facebook group, or, as I said, an unlisted YouTube video. However, you don't have to. So, and you certainly don't have to when you're actually testing with a guest. And that's actually something else that we're going to talk about as well. So let me check in on y'all. Yolanda says, is your 30-second GIF done with Canva? Yes, it is. I did do that with Canva. You just want to make sure it's really, really small, because it's only going in the logo, and you have to have it 3 megabytes or less. So it's random. Sorry, I saw that and I had to answer it for sure. Okay, so let me check in on everybody. I want to definitely... I haven't looked at the comments for a bit, so I just want to kind of check it out, make sure everybody's doing good. Can you have music playing when you do the reboot? Yes, I believe that you can. So if I went to Be Right Back and I turned on the music inside Streamyard, remember, this is inside Streamyard, then it should still play the music, because it's all being controlled on the Streamyard server. And that's actually one of the beautiful things about Streamyard is it's not... If this were software installed on my computer and I had to restart the software, my stream is gone. My stream is cut off. It shuts down. So that is a benefit to browser-based live streaming software, is that it's all being done. It's all being really, truly pushed out on a server that's not on your system. But so as long as you set your screen to what you want it to go to, and you made sure the music was playing before you restarted, it should play that music, which is a great idea, Robert. Robert, that's a really great idea, so that everybody can, hear that and see it. Denise says, where do I find the Be Right Back? Well, you have to upload that yourself. You have to create that overlay and add it to your StreamYard Studio. You can add it as a background, or you can add it as an overlay itself. And you have to be on one of the paid plans in order to use those custom graphics. But those are not provided by StreamYard, at least as of right now. Maybe I'll give Julie that idea that maybe we could create some overlay graphics for like Be Right Back and things like that, and starting soon and things like that for y'all, because we're doing free graphics every month. Okay, so Video for Bosses, hello. She says, I have a practice testing group on Facebook. Yeah, so really, really honestly, I personally recommend this. I just really, really recommend it. So Doug at SmackDown Outdoor says, I practice stream to do a nothing YouTube channel doing this. What? He says, I set mine to private. Okay, there you go. Yeah, private. Unlisted is what I would recommend, because unlisted, private is fine, but unlisted is going to allow you to just go look at it later easier. I find it to be easier, but it doesn't really matter. So, okay. I'm just checking on the comments, and I'm going to check in and answer a couple questions that I got so far. But then I'm going to actually talk about doing tech checks with guests. We're going to talk about that as well, for sure. So, love it. John says, I have to go let the dogs out. I'll watch the rest on a replay. If anyone asks, who let the dogs out? It was me. Have a great day, Belle. John, it's always good to see you in the live comments. It's always fun, for sure. Let's see. So Robin's Egg Blue Creation says, when I was still trying to get used to being on camera, I would use the record only feature to get used to seeing myself on camera. I would turn it on when I was crafting. Huge help. Yeah, it's a big help. That's actually a really great idea. And that's another thing, is that sometimes you literally just need to get used to a lot of people hate seeing themselves. A lot of people don't love that they get anxiety when they see themselves on the screen. And so I love this idea. So not always practicing and doing tech checks isn't always the only reason you should use these techniques. It could just be just to get used to using your camera, used to just practicing. Like maybe you want to practice your intro. Maybe you want to practice, literally do a dry run of what you're going to go through for your live show. That's absolutely okay, right? So a lot of times we think about, oh, I want to test things. But Robin's making a great point here. Like maybe you just need to kind of get used to being on camera. And I love it. I love that for sure. Okay, let me see. Yes. Doug, it is literally called the Sandbox. The Sandbox is where we play around. Sandbox is actually a term that software engineers use. So a lot of times, by the way, just so y'all getting a bonus tip here, when you are developing software, a lot of times what developers will do is they have literally all the same code, everything over in what's called a sandbox, on a sandbox server. That way they don't break the real product. So they have like a prototype over here and they're playing around with it. They get it the way they want. And then when it's ready to launch, they just basically move that stuff over from the sandbox server over to what's called the production server. So like when Dan and his team are playing around and designing new features, they are doing it over in some sandbox server. And then when that feature is ready to go, they move it over to the production. Hold on, I got a cough. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. I had to cough. I had to take care of business there. So another great way to use the another great way to use the Be Right Back screen, right? Okay, let's see here. These are great questions. I'm pinning some of your questions so that I can go back and answer them, which I'm going to do here in just a second. Letitia, my finger is broken. My fingertip is broken, and it unfortunately has been broken for, about 6 weeks. I have a checkup on Monday, but it's definitely not overly healing, but it is okay. It's going to be fine, right? Okay, so I'm just pinning some comments so I can come back and do this. Jeff, I actually talked about this in the beginning. Why not enable us to upload our own audio files? This is for the background music feature, the native background music feature that is now live in all of your accounts. That is because they just want to slowly introduce this stuff to the community. And then also I think they want to make sure they do some stuff to really make sure everyone's prepared that they upload the correct files that they are have the access and the rights to do. But it is in the roadmap. If you were at the summit yesterday, they definitely said that it's certainly in the roadmap for sure. Spencer says, I also have a private practice group. Yes, I 100% recommend that everybody do this. So if one of your action items today is literally, please go create a private Facebook group for yourself. If you want to add some people to it, add some people to it. In order for anyone to stream into a Facebook group, you have to connect the Facebook group to your Streamyard studio. So that is definitely, so the first step is create your practice Facebook group, make it private. Okay, definitely make it private, which I think they default to private when you first create it. I want to say. It's been a while since I've created one. And then what you're going to do is you're going to connect that Facebook group to your StreamYard account. And what's beautiful about StreamYard is even on the free accounts, you can stream into a private Facebook group. So all you have to do is make it the group first, and then go connect it to your StreamYard account, and it will show up in your destinations. Now, if you're trying to connect somebody else's Facebook group, it won't let you. You have to be an admin of that Facebook group. It's going to then have you connect StreamYard to Facebook, but it's really easy. It takes you through all the prompts to do that. So you definitely want to do all that first, and then you'll be ready to go, and you'll be ready to stream into that practice Facebook group. Timeless Jewelry by Deborah says, I did a 4:30 a.m. test live. It worked well, but my overhead and background lights were horrible. Well, dang it. One of the things you can do is sometimes you have to also keep in mind that when you're practicing and testing, the time of day matters. Earlier in the stream, you all saw the big beams of light coming through down here. They're gone now because the sun has repositioned. So if you do a test, one thing you always want to remember is if there's any natural light or anything at all that's coming into your room, if you're going to want to do some testing around the same time that you plan to stream so you can get a reality of what it's really going to look like. So that's definitely one of those things for sure. So let me see. I am okay. I'm checking. La, 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 la. Yeah, Letitia, go into your StreamYard account and you have background music in there now. That was announced yesterday at our summit during Dan Engage when they did their feature announcement. Okay, I finally got caught up. on questions and comments here. So Elder Miller says, I use Zoom to Facebook Live. Is that the possible on StreamYard? No. I 100% do not recommend you use Zoom to go live on Facebook. The only reason that anyone should be using Zoom to go live on Facebook is if they need to stream a meeting with lots of people, more than 10 people on screen. StreamYard allows you to add guests. So if you have guests and you want to have those people on screen with you, you can use StreamYard to do that. Zoom, in my opinion, is awful. It has awful quality with the streaming, and you can't see comments. So like I can see your comment, Elder, but if you were using StreamYard to stream to Facebook, if you had guests and things, then you can actually see the comments coming through as well. There's a lot of reasons why I do not recommend Zoom for streaming. It's not built to do that. They made that a feature a while back, and it became very popular when the pandemic started. But if you have StreamYard, I would 100% recommend you use StreamYard. The only thing that some people say is they'll say, oh, well, I don't want to have to pay for StreamYard. You can do everything Zoom does on the free account, literally, except you are limited to how many guests you can have on screen. So as long as you don't have more than 6 guests on screen, or wait, I got to check that. The free account, I think it's just 1 guest. Does anybody know that? Does anyone know? Let me check that. But you literally can do everything. In fact, do y'all want a secret? You can use Zoom. You can use StreamYard to have Zoom meetings. When I say Zoom meetings, I'm using the Kleenex thing here. You literally can create meetings. Like I showed you earlier, you can go into your studio, invite people to it. You don't even ever have to go live. You can literally have meetings inside of StreamYard without paying for StreamYard. I mean, if you use the free plan, you can have guests in there. I can't see where we are with that. I don't know why. Maybe it's pricing tab. There we go. All right. 6. You can have 6 people in your broadcast, non-broadcast, whatever, on the free plan. So why use Zoom? Now, if you're going to use more than 6 and you're already using Zoom for other stuff, fine. But Zoom, and do not use Zoom to stream. That's my thing. StreamYard is so much better, so much easier, and it's built for it. Okay, so there you go. There's my little tangent about that. So, okay, I'm going to jump in. It's Denise, it's not 10. The free account lets you have 6. The paid accounts let you have 10. The paid accounts let you have 10, for sure. Video for Bosses says, I used to use Zoom webinar for live streaming, and it was not great. No, it's not great. At all. So for sure. Okay. There you go. So there you go. Video for Bosses uses it for meetings. So Elder Miller, give it a try. Give StreamYard a try instead. I think you will find it so much better. So, okay, let me get into some questions because the next thing I'm going to talk about I am going to talk about doing stuff with your guests. So we are going to talk about doing those tech checks. So if you're just now joining us, this is the Ask Streamyard show, and we are talking about practicing your live streams without being live for many reasons, doing tech checks, testing audio, trying new equipment, trying new techniques, maybe even playing around with new features. And that is because Cliff Moores asked this great question in our Facebook group. He said, I have a quick question. Our group is going to do live streaming using Streamyard on Facebook. Can I set up a page to practice? So you don't have to set up a page to practice, right? And so I mentioned earlier, we talked about how you can actually just go right into the studio, never go live, and just play around with stuff. Or if you're on a paid plan, you could, do a record only as well. But the other thing I talked about, which I highly recommend, is you set up a practice Facebook group. So just go create a private Facebook group with just you in it, connect it as a destination in your StreamYard account, and now you have a sandbox or a playground to go live and play around with some stuff. So next we're going to talk about guests, but I'm going to take some questions so that I can keep moving and be here with y'all for sure. So let's see. If you have a question related to today's topic, which is practicing your live streams, post it with a cue for me in the front, and definitely make sure that that cue is in there. It helps me find your question. If you have a question about something else or even a feature request or something, then I want you to go over to streamyard.com/contact. That is a great place to submit feature requests. Now, if you have a question about if you need technical support or something, you can also email our support. So support@streamyard.com is a great way to also get some help. And there is also a help button on the StreamYard website where you will get connected to support. So that's what we're doing today. So let me go back to questions here and some comments. Okay. So bitrate. First of all, you can't change the bitrate. And that is, I was talking to you. So if you need help with that, go to our support team. But as far as I know, StreamYard, you definitely can't change bit rates and things like that. You have to be using a very different type of streaming software like OBS or something that's way more complicated and all that stuff. So can't help you with the bit rate thing for sure. Okay, let me get into our questions. Okay, let's see. So this was a really great question posted earlier, and then I sort of went on a tangent, so I'm going to go back to it. So Damn Short Film Festival says, can you practice test your host and guest audio also? So yeah, so here's what I would recommend. If you're going, anytime you have a guest, anytime, you should 100% do a tech check. Now, as I mentioned earlier, one of the greatest things you can do is create, so let's just do this actually. So what I would recommend is share my screen, go to create a broadcast, right? We'll just say create broadcast. We'll do this for the sake of this. Click your practice group. We call it Tech Check with Mel, right? And then Tech Check for guest, whatever, right? And then take that off. We don't need that. And you just create it. And now we have it. We're in the studio. Now, once you create a broadcast, like a scheduled broadcast or not, this isn't even scheduled. So it's just there. So right, I have it. I can actually go back to my dashboard and there it is. All you have to do, so I'm going to actually delete this one because I don't need it. So when you have this set up, you can actually click on invite guest right here. That's actually what you'll want to send to somebody. So you're going to get that link and you can send it to them just like you do when you actually send them to the link for your actual broadcast. And so what you're going to do is then you're going to enter the studio and your guest, when it's time, they'll be there and you will literally be here hanging out. And when they join, they'll join right here and you'll see it just like when you have a guest. This is I really recommend you do this as a test tech check for two reasons. One, your guest is actually going to already go through the process of joining a test stream. They are going to be able to see that, oh, I have to connect my mic, I have to connect my camera. They're going to have all that done already so that when it is time for their actual guest appearance, all that stuff's already done. And so it's just showtime at that point. I recommend that you do your pre-interview meeting inside StreamYard. So when you add that guest inside StreamYard, what you're going to see is that you can actually come in and have your meeting. So if I were to join as a guest, I could put both of us on screen and I could say, oh, your camera looks great. You know what? Let's go ahead. You could actually, change their lighting. Say, are you facing a window? Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and reposition you. Do you have a window in your room? Okay, great. Let's go ahead and face it. Oh, there you go. Your lighting's so much better. You can also tell them, hey, do you have headphones? I'm going to want you to wear headphones. Let's go ahead and grab those. Get a little closer to your microphone. If you want to coach your guest to sound and look great, this is the place to do it. This is also the place to show them around. You can show them, hey, do you see out to the right that you should see a comments tab and you should see a private chat tab? And they'll be like, yeah. And you'll say, they will see this right here. Okay. And you can say, well, I'm going to be displaying comments throughout the stream. It's going to look like this. This is just a demo comment. And then, so as I pop these up, you might see questions. These are great times for us to stop and answer those questions. And if you need to talk to me, all you have to do is use the private chat. So go out there and go ahead and type a message to me. This is what I would recommend you do with your guest, is actually show them around the studio. But it's also a time for you to test their audio and test their video feed and their camera. Now, if you wanted to, you could go live and record the interview. So this actually might be a good option for you. Okay, let me back up. What I mentioned was I said you should have your pre-interview meeting here too. This is a great place for you to actually go through what your run of show is going to be. What are you going to be talking about? Go through the agenda. Actually have your pre-interview meeting inside Streamyard and do the tech check all at the same time. Now, when do you do this? Some people get really, really risky and maybe their guest is really, really, really tight on time. They will literally do it like 30 minutes before the actual live interview. I don't recommend that unless you absolutely have to do that. That is because you only have so much time to fix any issues or deal with anything at that point. I also think that having that pre-interview is a really great time to decide on a title and a description and to go through anything like bios and anything else that you need to pull together for the stream before you schedule it. So this is a great way for you to test with your guests, but also give them an opportunity to test as well. If they're going to be sharing their screen, you can absolutely, excuse me. If they're going to share their screen, guess what? They can do that as well. You can actually say, do you see at the bottom where it says share? Go ahead and click that. You can also let them test how it's going to be if they're going to be sharing their screens like slides or anything like that. This is really, really critical, especially if they are going to be doing that. So I 100% recommend that you do that when you are going to be testing with a guest, which is what I wanted to talk about. So you want to create a checklist. This is also the other thing I recommend is that create a checklist, right? Now, do you need to actually stream to do this tech check? You really don't. As I mentioned earlier, you don't have to go live. However, if you wanted to record a meeting, like we were just talking about Zoom, right? You can actually just stream. You could actually do record only, or you could go live in the Facebook group, and then you could send them a link to that recording. Because as many of you all know now, we have a video library. And so you can say, hey, here's a link to our pre-meeting interview if you want to go back and go through the agenda we talked about. And you can send it to them, just like you send somebody a Zoom recording. So again, why do we even need Zoom? Just saying. Zoom has its place. It does have its place. But hopefully I gave you guys some new ideas about how you can honestly use all this stuff for other things. So, okay, let's see. So Doug's one of the ones that lives on the edge. She says, I like to live dangerously. Pre-interview? Yeah. So, and sometimes it works just fine. There have been plenty of times I've not done a pre-interview, but I do recommend that it's definitely, I recommend it for sure. Weezum wants to know what happened to the last stream. Well, apparently my internet provider had a server issue. And so literally while we were live, my internet went to like basically next to nothing. And so it was fixed later that day, thank goodness. And I was able to come on and join. I also am not 100% sure that the recent computer update, the PC updates that I did, created some issues as well, to be totally honest with you. In fact, yesterday morning at the summit, when I first came on in the very beginning of the summit, I had some issues. I actually had to go uninstall an application that I think was causing some of the audio problems. And maybe that was what it was too. So sometimes it's hard to tell what exactly is going on, but that's what happened for sure. Okay, let's see. We are talking about testing and practicing our live streams. And so if you have a question related to that topic, I would love to entertain it. So I definitely want to take those questions for sure, and we'll keep going here. So I'm going to get to some more questions. I feel like I need to cough again, so I'm going to mute and. Sorry. I'm just glad I was able to be here today. I have been fighting off something all week. And literally, I was like, dear God, just let me stay for the summit. Let me be able to do the summit. And it was rough. I will say last night I was rough. I barely had a voice. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to reschedule our stream to today. I wanted to make sure that I was going to be good to go. And so this morning I was like, I think I can do this. But I definitely still have that tickle, a little bit of things going on. So, okay, let me go back to our questions. We had some good questions. Okay. Cazadora says, I do practice to YouTube Unlisted using different settings to check audio. Unchecked echo versus stereo. My audio is not clean using Rode mic versus Boss Bluetooth and keep getting some weird background noise. So that is actually another example. So there are different settings inside of Streamyard. And so if you go over to, let's share my screen again. If we go into StreamYard and you go to audio, so if you go into your settings, you go to audio, you are going to notice some different settings here. So you're going to have echo cancellation, you have stereo, and then we have automatically adjust mic volume. This is one of those really great examples of when you would want to actually do what I call a live test, meaning go ahead and stream into that practice Facebook group, or as Cazadora says here, unlisted YouTube video. I personally like the Facebook group option earlier. As I mentioned, I won't go down that rabbit hole again, but this is a great time for you to test these features. I do think that sometimes echo cancellation is needed. Sometimes it's not. If you are having any third-party audio, if you're playing music, if you're using the background music feature, if you have guests in your stream at all, if you're playing videos that have audio and you won't be muted at the time, you want to wear headphones. I just think it's the best way. However, StreamYard to echo cancellation works really, really, really well. In fact, it's phenomenal. It's come a long way. So you don't have to, but if you are going to be playing any audio through your speakers, you would probably want to use echo cancellation unless you have headphones. I don't have headphones, so I don't need it. When you have echo cancellation turned on, you cannot use stereo. So if you want the best audio quality, you are going to want to turn echo cancellation off, wear some headphones, and turn on stereo audio. So there's definitely those things. Automatically adjust mic volume. What that's going to do is it's going to automatically increase the volume for your audience based on where you are. So if I were coming back here, and then if that was on, StreamYard would try to compensate. Typically when you have that on, you're going to actually pull in a lot of background noise. And so I would recommend not having that on. In fact, I'm surprised mine's on. I don't think that's supposed to be on. I don't know why it is. I guess I turned it on at one point. You don't want that on for a lot of reasons. Personally, I don't like to typically have that on, but it's on now. So whatever, I'll turn it off. I don't know if that, and then see, this is the other thing. Be very careful about this is when you turn that off, it is going to let you adjust your mic volume. That's why I have it, I think, because there's not an audio level monitoring inside StreamYard yet that's really super accurate. You have this little thing here, but honestly, that's not totally giving a full representation. It's just letting you know that, hey, your mic is being picked up. So that is also something that's been asked before is better audio monitoring inside StreamYard. But Cazadora's, it's probably something to do with your actual hardware. If you're getting that background, it's probably your hardware, and you probably need to make sure you're dialing in your gain and all those things in your hardware for sure. But definitely keep practicing and trying that out. Okay. I know that John left to go let his dogs out, unless he's back, which maybe he is back. I'm not exactly sure. If I'm taking a quick look in the comments to see if he did jump back in. Excuse me. Okay, so... Okay, good. Well, hopefully that's helpful. Cazadoras, hopefully that helps. I definitely think it's probably a hardware thing, but definitely keep troubleshooting that for sure. Okay. That is not the background music. That's just my humming. All right. So John says, is StreamYard considering of letting those of us with royalty-free music services to be able to upload background music. I clicked on that before I read the whole thing. I already answered this question, actually. I think John was here when I did, but it is being considered. It is in the roadmap. It is being considered. They're just trying to be very careful about how they release that and when they do. Okay, so we have another question. Kamal Tech Vlog. Can we also go live in private and share the link to someone to check on the stream? So let me take a sip of water. It's going to leak on me for some reason. It's leaking today. Here's the deal about this. Okay, so the YouTube options. So we talked about you can go live on YouTube as an unlisted video or a private video. If it's a private video, if you make the setting private, so if we go to create a broadcast and we go to YouTube, and I select YouTube, okay, right here, you have the privacy setting. If you pick private, okay, if you pick private, they will not, no matter what, if you send them a link, they will not be able to check the stream. If you select unlisted, you have to create that broadcast, then grab the link, then send it to them. Again, a lot of steps. If you are going to use the Facebook group option, if that group is a secret group, no one can see anything. No one can even find the group. You literally have to send them, you have to add them yourself manually to the group. If it's a private group and you send them a link to that live stream, they will not be able to see it unless they are a member of that Facebook group. If it's a public group, which again, I don't recommend you do a public Facebook group to practice live streaming, because why not just, it's public, it's everywhere, right? Anyone can see it. Then they would be able to. So your options are unlisted on YouTube, send them the link, they can check on the stream, or add that person to your private testing group, and then they can see it inside there, which is really what I recommend. If you have someone that's, again, a good peer for you, a friend of yours, another live streamer, maybe a coach, a tech coach, and they're willing to do it, then create a group for yourself. I love this for little accountability groups. I know a lot of people, when I do my live coaching boot camp, I always recommend that they set up a private group, but then I also tell them, hey, find a buddy inside the program and go set up a group together. And they will do that. And then many of them still do it. Like to this day, they still have their little testing group that they have together, and they just use it to test each other's stuff. So if you have a friend, if you have someone else that's in the same space as you, then maybe you can have them join the group, and then it's really easy. So all you'd have to tell them is, hey, I'm going to go live today at 3. Can you be there? Can you check on it for me? And then they can literally be in the comments with you and telling you feedback right away. So you could do that, but those are your options for that. That's a great question. Hello, Matt. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. Landlord Advocates. It's appreciate you definitely hanging out and saying hi to me. Okay, let me see here. Oh, I love it. So Dorina says, my hubby is my crash test dummy when I am testing stuff, but don't tell him I called him that. Your secret's safe with us, unless he's watching, of course. But no, we won't give your secret away for sure. Okay. Okay, so PK, make sure if you have a question, that question about background music or videos background, save that for next Wednesday. We are going to be live next Wednesday, and we're doing a full-blown Q&A. So if you have questions unrelated to today's topic, which is testing and practicing live streams, save it for next Wednesday and join us next Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, and you will 100% get your question answered. We will be live doing a full-blown Q&A for y'all. So I was just checking on current comments here. Wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything related to today's topic. Okay, so let me go to the next question. Michael Almaraz says, what headphones do you recommend so I can test them? Okay, so any headphones really will work. I do recommend this. If you are using a mic, if you're using a USB mic or an XLR mic or anything like that hooked into your computer, then I recommend that the headphones you use not be the kind of headphones that have a microphone on them. And the reason for that is simply because it's very easy for your computer to get tricked or you to accidentally select the wrong microphone. It happens. Okay, it just happens. So just find some headphones that are just straight up regular wire headphones. I do not recommend wireless headphones. This comes up a lot. People ask me about wireless headphones all the time. Anytime you introduce something wireless, you have a couple of risks. computers tend to just do the same thing. They tend to just default to something, and they may default to a different speaker, and maybe the battery might run out of your wireless headset when you're live. They can create feedback sometimes as well. Also, the same thing as I just mentioned, wireless headphones usually have a microphone, of course, with them as well. And there are times when our computers just decide to do things on their own. And you may think you're talking into this microphone when you're talking into that one. I see it all the time. I see it when I watch the news and they're interviewing people and they have like AirPods in and they've got this like fancy microphone in front of them. And you literally, I'm like, that microphone is not what's being used right now. It's the crappy microphone in the AirPods. So wireless headphones I do not recommend, but I definitely like these are just clear microphones. They're made by Me Audio, M-E-E. Me Audio. You can find them on Amazon. They're very cheap, and I like them because they go behind my ear like such. So they literally go behind me and they just hang down. You are going to need an extension cable when you buy them because they are they're just like a 3-foot cable, but there you go. And you can test them for sure. Okay. Cazadora says the Be Right Back is video, correct? Because it muted your audio. If overlay, your mic still works, right? Okay. So it's actually not a video. It is an overlay. I muted my microphone though. So when I went to the Be Right Back screen a little bit ago, I actually muted my microphone, clicked on the Be Right Back screen so that I could cough aggressively. And then I came back. But he is right. So Cazadora says if you are playing a video, if you use a Be Right Back screen as a video, it will, if it has audio, it will mute your mic when you click it, which is great because it's awesome. But the problem with video is if you're using it for Be Right Back, well, how long is your video and will you be right back before that video is done? So I like to use an overlay, especially when you don't know how long you need because of that. Okay. Interesting question. So Barbara says, if we have a pro account, can we create a second Streamyard account with a different email under the free plan to use with our paid account? You can create another Streamyard account. Basically, a Streamyard account is associated to an email. So if you have a pro account, but you want a free account, which I'm not sure why, maybe for your teams, so that might make sense. So this is an example. Everyone has an extra seat because of StreamYard Teams. So maybe you have your account, but then you also want to create maybe an assistant account. You could set up an email address like info@melaniediane.com. And then that could be your second account. They could be a free user. Yes, they don't have to be a paid. And then you could make them an admin or make them another user on your account. And then, yes, you can absolutely do that, Barbara. That will definitely work. That's a perfect use case for StreamYard Teams. Suprian George, I hope I said that correctly. I've tried testing my audio before a live stream in a room without anyone except the live band. Sounded good during that time, but when the day came and people were in the room, the audio totally changed for the worst. Anything can be done to cater for that kind of change. So the only thing that I can think of is I'm thinking, so if you're doing music, which by the way, I think our next StreamYard showcase is all about musicians. This has been heavily requested because there's a lot of people, bands and things that are wanting to use StreamYard to stream their performances. So anytime, so it sounded good during live. Okay, testing my audio before a live stream in a room without anyone except the live band. The only thing I can think of is the other people in the room may have been making noise. And if you have echo cancellation on or anything like that, those extra sounds get picked up and that is going to affect the audio. So it might be echo cancellation. That might be a setting that you might want to test. This is a great time for someone to go live in a group, try it out, have someone listening who is not in the room with you, and have them be listening and giving you feedback in the comments like, oh, that sounds way better. And you could be making those adjustments to the settings like I just showed you. That would be what I would try for that for sure. My guess is it has something to do with echo cancellation. Okay. Should I play some background music? I always actually, for my own streams, I actually like to play a little bit of background music because it kind of helps. It just kind of helps like when I'm like finding the next question, it's not so quiet. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if that's too loud though. I hear it in my ears. we got all kinds of new comments. I'm going to check on you guys real fast in the comments here. La 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 la. Real quick, is there a way to run more than one stream at a time? Multi-streaming is what you'd want to do. You have to be on one of our paid plans to be able to multi-stream. Other than that, I do believe you can stream at the same time in the same account. I've not done that before. I haven't needed to do that. That is something you'd want to test for sure. I'm seeing if there's any more questions. Okay, cool. I see a couple more, so I'm going to pin these. Pinning some questions. These are good. This is going to be fantastic. Me audio. So Ariel Action, Me audio. And I think Doug commented as well. He has the same ones. They're very inexpensive. There's two kinds. You want to get the cheaper one. Just on if you go to Amazon and you literally type in clear headphones, these are going to show up. They're like $20, but there's another set that's like, I don't know. There's like another set that's literally like $60 or something. Those are not the ones that you need. Doug says turn it up. Okay, I turn up a little bit. Okay. Yes, Me audio, MEE, that's right. Gary says, will this recording be available to view today? So Gary, all of our live streams are, let me get that troll real quick. All of our live streams are always available after we go live. In fact, Wednesday's live stream, which was the one where we were trying to do this, it's still up too. I'll probably take that down because it doesn't need to be up. But you know, so I definitely, can you guys hear it? Can you guys hear the music? So Mike says he can't hear the music. Let me know if you hear it. Let me know if you hear the music. But yeah, all of our live shows are always available after the fact. The easiest way to go find them is just go over to our YouTube channel. So you're obviously watching on YouTube and you will find the playlist. So I'll just show you really fast while I can. Yes, you can hear the music. Awesome. It's very low. I don't have it real loud. I don't want it to be real loud because I want you to be able to hear me. Cassataurus is very excited about the music. Good. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Andrew, hopefully that's not an affiliate link that you posted, but thank you for posting that link. Okay. So here we go. This is where we are. But if we go over to Streamyard. La 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 la. I'm going to find the channel. And then you'll notice if you scroll down, keep going, keep going, keep going. Ask Streamyard. These are actually where all of our Ask Streamyard shows are. So you can actually find all the old Ask Streamyard shows. Okay? It looks like, there's the one that went foul on us on Wednesday right there. So that's the one that went bad on us on Wednesday. We'll probably take that one down. But last week's show, here are all the old shows. So I talked earlier about using the, let's see, the one that was really popular. You guys loved it. Was the one I did about, where is it? There it is, video transitions and how to share photos. These two episodes, you guys loved those episodes. I talked about these earlier. These are things that are an example of what you should practice for sure. Like you should absolutely be practicing that. But you guys can find all of our old shows, all of our past live streams are always on our YouTube channel. And if you just want to see absolutely everything we've done, I'm going to go back. Dang it. Let's do that again. Streamyard. Go right here. Oop. I'm sorry. Let me get into the channel. Streamyard and go right here to videos. Boom. There's everything we have. All the tutorials. We've got everything in here. So tons of tutorials. We've got the Streamyard reviews that are done. We've got Roberto Blake's videos. We have D. Nimmons videos. We have Nick Nimmons videos. If you want to go find all the old videos, all the replays are here. The only replays that aren't here are the Summit replays, and that's because those are available to our registrants. So if anyone who registered to the Summit, that is when they're going to be. Those are the ones you get to find. All right, let's go to the next. Will it work? Will it work still on laptop computer and on the smartphone on StreamYard? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Let me know what you're referring to specifically, and I will try to answer your question. Dan says, I took you up on your suggestion of Epidemic Sound. Great service. I love Epidemic Sound. It's the best. All right, everybody, let's wish the the Curse of Oak Island, which I love to watch, by the way. Wish him luck on his first guest stream for sure. So definitely good luck to you for sure. All right, let me get back to more questions. We had some more questions. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so Casadores had another question. Best option, record versus live to Facebook or YouTube Unlisted to actually check based on your internet connection and also the guest connection. Okay, so this would be a scenario, Casadores, where you would want to actually go live. So I earlier we talked about not going live and just going live not going live, being in the studio and actually just checking that way, right? So you don't have to actually go live. But if you do want to test the actual output of your live stream, okay, the actual output of it, meaning how is it going to look, that is going to have a factor of your computer ability and your, most importantly, your internet connection. So if you want to test that, you need to actually go live. When your guest joins the studio with you, if they have really crappy internet, you'll be able to tell because they will actually be jumbled a little bit in the studio. However, if you truly want to test their internet and everything else, then you are going to want to go live in a practice group or an unlisted video and then look at that and make sure the quality is to par. That is the only way to truly fully test the actual output. So that's what I would recommend. But again, do it as an unlisted or a private Facebook group for sure. Design with Deej. StreamYard testing beforehand is a must. I do test the evening before. If the guests can't figure out StreamYard, you can do a dry run. Do you have a video you recommend on how to be a guest? Oh, digging with Deej. That's actually a really good idea. In fact, we've talked about this before. I definitely think that we are going to be creating a video so that it'll be a video where I will basically tell you, hey, you've been asked to be a guest on StreamYard. Here's what you need to know. It's something that you guys can send to your guests. I think this is a great idea and something that I've kind of had in our little docket for a while. So I definitely think that we'll be creating a video that will allow any of you guys, you can say, hey, here's what you need to know. Watch this video really quick and I will walk them through it. But again, I still think that it's really critical. There's a couple things you have to keep in mind when you have guests. They may have a tight schedule. Are they going to actually watch the video? Are they going to actually read the email with all your amazing instructions? Are they actually going to read the run of show document that you send them, before the show? This happens all the time. I just worked an event last week, a 3-day event that had tons of speakers. And I would say at least half of them did not read all the fine details in all the stuff that was sent to them beforehand. So it is going to happen. So having that actual tech check trial run is where you can alleviate any issues. You can never rely on a guest to watch a training video or to read anything. The best way you can ensure it's going to be great is to do exactly what you do, which is do a test beforehand. So you're doing the right thing there for sure. But the videos are still a really great idea. When you set up the practice live stream, is there a way to post it on YouTube, but you can send the link to people who can test it with me? Thanks. Yeah, okay, we kind of talked about that. So we talked about it earlier. You could set up an unlisted YouTube video and you could practice that way, or you can do a practice Facebook group. If you're wanting to do something that you send off to somebody, you're probably going to want to go with an unlisted YouTube video. So when you schedule the stream or create the broadcast, just make sure when you select YouTube that you select unlisted. If it's private, they won't be able to see it unless they're an admin in your YouTube account. Thriller says, can your program live stream pre-recorded videos and loop them for a specified duration of time? No, that is not current. Yes, you can stream pre-recorded videos, but you cannot, the specified duration of time is the length of the video. So when you stream a pre-recorded video, the stream will end at the end of that video. So however long the video is, that's when it ends. Now you can go in and manually end it, but it's going to automatically end at the end of the video duration. So if you need it to go for 8 hours, make sure you need to make an 8-hour video. If you need it to go 5 hours, but after 3, you're good to go, then you can go in after 3 and turn it off. Okay. I have all kinds of new comments. I got to go check on them for sure. Okay. Let's see. Okay, thank you for the clarification. Will it also practice live streams on the smartphones? Yes. So everything you can absolutely do all the same stuff I showed on your mobile device. So 100% people, I still think so many people don't realize that you can use StreamYard on your phone. Just go to streamyard.com in the browser. So if you're on an iPhone, use Safari. If you're on an Android, use Chrome. You can absolutely use StreamYard. You cannot share your screen, and you can't share slides. You can't share screen. There's another one. There's another feature that doesn't work on the mobile, and it's a limitation of the mobile devices. So all the stuff we talked about, you could totally do on your phone. You can practice using your phone. In fact, that's an awesome thing. It's another great case, a user case where you would want to practice. So, because the phone camera is different, the lighting's different. You want to make sure that where you're going to be doing your stream is going to work. Also, you want to test your internet, right? So you want to be able to test that stuff too. You 100% can practice on your smartphone. Everything I showed you, you can do on your smartphone. You can either go into a practice Facebook group. You can go into a record only. Oh, wait, that actually might be the feature. Record only. No, record only works. You don't have to go live to test on your phone either. So all the stuff I showed you and talked about applies, except sharing your screens, right? You can't share a screen on a mobile device. La, 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 la. Okay. The background music I'm playing, so on their next podcast, the background music I'm playing is inside StreamYard. So everyone has this background music in their account now. So it is absolutely available to you inside the studio. If you go in your studio, oh my gosh, my mouse needs to come back over here. If you go in your studio and you go out to brand, scroll all the way down to the bottom. Underneath your backgrounds, there's background music. It is now there. So it's all available to you. So you have 8 tracks to choose from. The one I'm currently playing is Lo-Fi. This one right here. I'm looking to see if we have any more questions. The music makes it better, doesn't it? Music makes it better. Okay, the Charles Wood says, creating a video about being a guest, great idea. Okay, I'll do it. I will do it. Just give me some time. Give me some time. All right. Cage Media ENT says, can the guests talk to each other backstage? No, they cannot talk to each other. So they can type to each other. So they can use the private chat. So everybody has a private chat inside of your studio, and they can definitely talk to each other using the private chat. In fact, keep in mind, everyone can see all the private chats. So it's not like a one-on-one communication. It's anyone in the studio can see the private chat, but they cannot talk to each other. They can't speak to each other. That is not currently the way that StreamYard's set up. It's been brought up before. It's been asked before, but I don't know if that's on the product roadmap. That's a pretty complicated setting and a pretty complicated feature. There are other ways that you can let everyone talk to each other, and I'll give you some ideas here in a sec. So I've never heard of this app before, but I used it last week on the event that I was part of, and I do not know if it's probably not free, but it's called Unity, and it's essentially a walkie-talkie application. So if you were having like a special kind of show and you wanted everyone to be able to talk and hear each other, then you could have them be backstage, and then you could have them have their phone on the Unity app, and it's a walkie-talkie app. This is actually what we use at StreamYard as well. Our producers behind Backstage, they use it to talk to each other. But be careful, because it is going to add a complication. So if you need them to be able to speak to each other, that is definitely one way you can create kind of a green room experience, is to let them be on something like the Unity app. It's essentially a walkie-talkie app. You would just have to have a protocol set up so that you can literally tell them, hey, you need to mute your phone now because you're about to come up on stage. So there's definitely some things about that. Some people just get on a phone call. I've heard people do that too. They just create a phone call. RVing with G, you are a wild child. I honestly do think that there is, here's the thing. I don't recommend anyone that's just getting started winging it, right? I also don't recommend you just go play around with new things and you've never done it before while you're live. Now, I do a lot of winging, but that's because I'm a live video strategist and mentor and coach. And so my audience loves it when I'm just like, let's try this out and see what's going to happen. That's part of my content. And so for me, that kind of works. But, you can wing it. The more experience you get and the more you do this, the more you can wing, for sure. I mean, you can definitely get away with winging it. And yes, Doug already said earlier, if you're, even when you have guests, that terrifies me, but hey, it works. People do it. I've certainly not done rehearsals or anything like that with guests before. But it just depends on the event, depends on your stuff, right? Jennifer Tislerick says, for a big event we do rehearsals in an unlisted YouTube video and have planning committee members watching to make sure it looks good from an audience perspective. Love that. That's a great thing to do for sure. It also is going to give a little reassurance for your guests if you let them have that tech check time with you. It certainly does help. Okay, 2 webcams. By the way, I don't know if anyone heard this, but another feature that Dan said is coming here in the next couple weeks is having multiple webcam support right inside your Streamyard studio. So is it QOOL? Q of Oak Island. Oh, QOOL. Got it. Right? QOOL. I think that's what it is. I was still getting an echo on 2 webcams, even with audio off. That is because you have to mute the speaker. That it's mostly the speaker and the microphone. So you have to make sure the microphone is muted and the speaker is muted. This issue will go away once StreamYard releases multi-webcam support. I'm so excited about it. Right now I use a black Magic 810 Mini, and I have 2 DSLR cameras hooked up, but I also use OBS Studio, which allows me to have multiple screen angles. So I can control that with my Stream Deck, but I am using OBS. I may not even need to use this at all anymore once StreamYard comes out with this feature. So I'm super excited about it for sure. And it's going to be really, really great. Well, hello, Mike. Glad to see you here for sure. Record only. Does anyone here have an Android phone, and can you do record only? I feel like you can do record only. I'm just going to look. Let's just look and see. Let's log into StreamYard. I'm almost positive it's available. Create new broadcast. Record only. Yes, it definitely is available on an iPhone. I believe it. It's because it's recording on the server. It shouldn't matter whether you're on an Android or an iPhone, because it's recording it on the StreamYard server. So the phone shouldn't be the issue, right? Is this music approved by YouTube and Facebook? It is. It is copyright-free music. I know that that was a big thing, as they wanted to make sure that the music was going to be okay for everyone to use. So we're using it right now. We're not being shut down, so it's working. Okay. Okay, let me just make sure, see if I have any more questions about practicing our Facebook Lives. How comfortable are these? They're pretty comfortable. They come with a whole pack of different inserts too. So you can, depending on how big your ears are, you can change them. I have very little ears, so I always have to use the really little ones. Landlord Advocate's dropping a little knowledge bomb here. The best way to do a live stream is to know your content and to present that content in an engaging manner. Yes. And honestly, sometimes the way you engage are using features, right? And so using those features and trying those things out, you should be practicing those, which is what we wanted, why I wanted to talk about this topic today. That's why I was super excited about this topic today. Dan did talk about this yesterday. Somebody asked about the hotkey. He said it will eventually have a hotkey, if not when it releases, to add that second camera. So the hotkey is definitely going to be part of it. If not in the first rendition, eventually, for sure. I knew Robin's Egg Blue Creations. All my creatives are definitely so excited about that second camera, so that they can be talking to their audience, but also have like another shot showing what they're doing in crafting. I think it's going to be so great for all of our crafters. Okay. Ooh, didn't realize that. So Thriller, I don't really use pre-recorded. I didn't know there was a limitation on the length. So 1 hour and 2 hours on Pro. Okay, I didn't realize that. I thought you had longer. Any chance you can make that duration longer? That's a great thing to send to our team. So Thriller, what I want you to do is I want you to go to streamyard.com/contact and let them know all the details you can. Dan loves it when everyone provides as much detail about the use case. Why do you want this feature? So go there, fill that form out. Our developers look at all of those. So definitely check that out for sure. All right, my friends, I'm going to save the rest of my voice. And also it is 3:30 Eastern time here in Indiana on Friday. And I don't know about you all, but I don't like to work late on Fridays. Fridays are like the day. It's the day to have fun, day to be creative. I like to do fun things and, not go too crazy with work. And usually I try to be done by 3, but I wanted to come live and tell you guys about today's video this topic, because honestly, it was pretty important. And we had an issue last Wednesday when I tried to go live at our normal time. My internet decided to be unfriendly that day. And I'm glad that it cooperated for us today. You can tune in next week at 11 a.m. Eastern time. We will be live. We are live. This show is every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So definitely check us out. Next week will be a big open live Q&A. So a lot of you had some questions today that I wasn't able to get to because they weren't related to today's topic, or it wasn't just a quickie that I could answer. Bring it to next Wednesday's show. Definitely bring it to next Wednesday. We are going to do a live Q&A next Wednesday and answer any of your questions. We'll probably be live for 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, but I'll have Christian Karasevich with me next Wednesday. And we're live every Wednesday for the Ask Streamyard show. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the weekend and definitely let my voice get some rest. I appreciate all of you. You guys are fantastic. Yes, thank you. Have a great weekend to all of you as well. And I appreciate you guys being here. And again, like I said, what I really appreciate the most is you allowing the snafu to happen, and you came back and you're still a fan. And I love all of you for tuning in each week after week. So we'll be talking to you soon. I'm gonna turn off this music. Actually, I'm gonna leave the music. I'm gonna leave the music going till the end, till we're done. So I'll see you guys next Wednesday. If not before then, I'll see you later. Have a good weekend. That's the background. See, I clicked on the wrong thing. I gotta click on the right thing. I gotta click on the right screen. So where is it? I lost it. There it is. All right, I'm done. See you guys.